Hey everyone, I'm Orca Gaming, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to Monster Legends. Welcome to a monster analysis on the brand new Cosmic Mythic, Heiss. So, I've mentioned this in the other videos, but I'll mention it again. For these analyses, I am going to be comparing them to Mythics and Legendaries because that's the meta we're in. But, realistically, you should be comparing this to the other Cosmics, so I'm going to do my best to also compare them amongst one another, because these monsters have a different stats that, if we just compare them to like a Legendary, it's like, wow, you think they're OP, but then when you really break it down and look at skills and traits and everything, we start to see a different picture. But for sure, like, these monsters have an inherent advantage against Legendaries. They have a little advantage against Mythics, I would say, because the difference in stats aren't anything too crazy. If you saw my first video, my first analysis on Hardy, you would see that, yes, he has higher life, power, and speed, but it's not too significant. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about Heiss. So, births are very rare in the underworld, as it's more a final destination than a home. But there are magic elements involved. Anything is possible, but where there are magic elements involved, anything is possible. When the distant star exploded, the stardust it produced filled every corner of Monster Legends universe and opened thousands of portals in some areas. The amount of stardust that fell from the sky was such that it leaked into the earth and started dripping through the cracks into the underworld. The underworld stardust rain had many consequences, one of them being the birth of a creature with cosmic powers and native hell wickedness, Heiss. Because of his extraordinary creation, Heiss is idolized like a hero or a deity, but his personality isn't heroic or solemn. It's nothing but a child of chaos, pure evil. And by the way, I should have mentioned this, Heiss is going to be in the multiplayer tournament, which I can only assume as of time recording this video, because it is pre-release of the actual launch date for the Galaxy era. I can only assume that whoever gets top place, or maybe in the chest they're going to give in the new multiplayer tournament, maybe you'll get a chance to get this monster. So yeah, we have ourselves a brand new fire who is uncontrollable. He cannot be controlled attacker. Alright, so we have a lot of new attackers in this Mythic era, so that's kind of frightening. This new Cosmic Mythic era. He can increase his damage output by making the enemies vulnerable. He can apply fire weakness to them, or he can remove their shields. So can you imagine that? You stack the vulnerable with the fire weakness and then do a fire-based attack. Whew, you are dealing some massive damage. And you can also remove their shields, so if any of them apply shields to themselves, ooh, they're in trouble. I think right now Sluggazoid can apply 75% shield, so sorry Sluggazoid, I'm taking away that 75% shield. Alright, so at rank 0 you're immune to freeze, which helps against Sluggazoid's 50% chance to freeze skill. At rank 1 you get immunity to stun, okay, two of the main immunities. Immunity to stun and freeze. And at rank 3 you followed up with the immunity to possession, aka just a immunity to control, which by the way also helps to some other kind of like off denial. For example, baby, if you have immunity to control, you actually also can't transform into a baby, so that's useful. So yeah, you have freeze, stun, and just overall control immunity at rank 3. Obviously, this is the kind of monster that you want to get at least a rank 3, just to be protected against everything across the board. Alright, with that said, let's talk stats. This monster has a life stat of 72,384, and this is actually the lowest of all of the mythics, all of the cosmic mythics, tied with that of Vanoss. It's usually the case that attackers, monsters that have a high power stat, tend to be a little on the lower end of the life scale. In terms of power, 7656, of course it makes sense. This is the second highest power, also tied with that of Vanoss. Currently the only cosmic stronger is Hardy, who has a power stat of 7744, so just slightly higher, nothing too crazy. And then of course we have the speed stat. So this is also something that happens with attackers, at least at the start. Typically attackers tend to be super slow. In this case, this is the slowest of all of the monsters, all the cosmics, tied with that of Hardy with a speed stat of 5632. But again, like right now, all these new monsters, we're talking a few hundred points, so it's nothing too crazy. And as an attacker, his speed stat doesn't even matter that much. His life stat doesn't matter that much. What matters the most is that high power stats. In terms of relics, this does matter. Unlike other attackers that usually hold the sword relic, this monster can hold the mask and the armor relic. So, I mean, just utilize whatever you have at your disposal is what I would say. Now with the mask, Jastar's mask, Eotron's mask, you can get a lot of benefit out of it. Stamina draining, shields. Pretty much same with armor. There's armors that activate and you recover life. There's armors that drain stamina, armors that recover stamina. Actually, off the top of my head, I'm not sure if they do drain stamina. But yeah, monsters that recover, relics that recover stamina. Like, there's a lot out there. Alright, and let's see books. You are an underworld monster, a superhero, evil legions, and a cosmic monster. Alright, let's talk basic attacks. Fury of the Monkey deals moderate fire damage to one enemy, applies burn to one enemy, 35 damage, spammable, 22 stamina cost, and it is moderate fire with burn. Out of Control, I like the name. Deals low fire damage to all enemies, 20 damage, 0 cooldown. Okay, nothing too impressive here. Alright, Smells Like Burnt, applies double damage to itself, applies burn to itself, requires cooldown. What? Applies double damage to itself and burn to itself. Okay, so I always complain about not liking self skills or buff skills. You know, like, and who is it? Vanoss can give himself double damage and evasion. I would much rather have that than double damage and burn. I feel like if you're gonna put a skill that does this and harms yourself, you better add more benefit. Like, maybe a positive effect protection would have been very nice. That way you essentially kind of get a guaranteed double damage unless it was to get removed twice. Yeah, especially if you're burning yourself. Man, I would much rather take that evasion double damage skill. Yeah, definitely not a fan of this, right? Definitely not a fan of this. Ape Dance applies damage boost to itself, applies stamina regen. See, I like this more because you get that stamina regen, so if you get your stamina drained, you're going to have stamina to do something. And yeah, even though double damage is literally double the damage, I just can't take the fact that you are burning yourself for that double damage buff. And then what if the double damage gets removed? You basically just gave yourself a free burn. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the skill, although you gotta say you love the name. That's why it says Smells Like Burnt, because you literally burnt yourself. I mean, you're a burning monster anyways, but you further burned yourself. Alright, let's see. Fire Meteor deals moderate fire damage to enemies, applies burn. It is an AoE burn, so it's basically an AoE version of Fury of the Monkey. So, you know, just AoE 35 damage. Incineration deals heavy fire damage to an enemy, applies Ignite. Here we're adding the Ignite. This is the one that deals, is it 20% for 2 turns, so a total of 40%. So Ignite being a lot more powerful, and obviously it helps against monsters that are immune to burn. And so when that enemy monster has that burn immunity, at least you can add some Ignite. Alright, let's see. On to tier 3 already. We have Blow the Ashes. Deals moderate fire damage to all enemies. Applies fire weakness to all enemies. That reminds me, what happens to Vulnerable? I feel like I haven't seen Vulnerable. Did that get removed? He can increase his damage output by making them vulnerable, which is an effect. I don't think I saw that anywhere. Maybe it's the last one. Remove shield. No, I don't see vulnerable. Okay, that's weird. Must be some mistake. I guess something got updated to where they took out the vulnerable. They forgot to update that. So let's see. Blow the Ashes once again. It deals moderate fire damage and then applies fire weakness. Okay, so obviously here's where the combo comes in. If on turn 1 you can do Blow the Ashes, right, maybe you Heiss, instead of giving them a typical attack or rune setup with like 2 strength and a speed, or 2 strength and team speed, you do 1 strength and you do 2 speed. You have a deny go first and deny, and then Blow the Ashes. Everyone took some damage. Everyone is fire weakness. On the next turn, you follow up with Fire Meteor, and then it is a moderate fire damage AoE, that's 35 damage, but thanks to the fire weakness, it's now 50% stronger, and you burn on top of that. So that's the combo there, but overall, it's set up. Actually, doesn't it make more sense to give yourself double damage, and then your Fire Meteor is essentially 70 damage? So, right, it's different ways of looking at it. So no, that would be 70, so whereas if you do Blow the Ashes, that's 40, plus 35. No, see, the Blow the Ashes Fire Meteor combo works better, but this assumes the fire weakness lands, this assumes you don't miss, you know, there's all these other factors, especially with its AoE skill that already has a 90% accuracy. But yeah, it is a potential combo you could utilize. And let's see, Embedded Flame removes shield from one enemy, deals very heavy physical damage to an enemy, requires cooldown. So you're doing physical damage and you are removing the shield. Again, Slugazoid off the top of my head comes to mind because of the 75% life shield. So it can just be heavy physical damage to that Slugazoid. And that's it. Again, skill set wise, very lackluster, I would say. I don't care that he's immune to control, to be honest. I don't see him like being that crazy, you know. I can just apply Sunburn, I can apply a lot of dots to him, Curse, what be it, and I can let the Torture just kind of take him away. So, not impressed with him. Baboon Fire removes positive effects from all enemies, deals heavy fire damage to all enemies, applies Ignite to all enemies. So I'm not impressed with him compared to the other Cosmics. I feel like the other Cosmics offer a lot more, and even them, they don't offer much, but at least, again, you look at Vanoss, you get that Pierce and Evasion, or was it double damage and evasion, whatever it was. I know it was Pierce and Evasion. You look at some other monster that can do maybe double damage. I think it was probably, yeah, I'm looking through all the skills, so they're all jumbling in my head. Maybe Hardy had a soft skill that was better, like, thinking through everything. At the end of the day, the best combo is that 40 damage AoE, followed up with your fire-based AoE. If you don't do that, like, you do have, I haven't seen the other The other Cosmics, I don't think they do 40 damage AoE, so that might be what this monster has going for him, that he has a powerful AoE skill. Killing Daedalus, this monster is going to have no problem. Blow the ashes and just obliterate Daedalus, obliterate Centurion, any Megaton monster. At least you know he can kill them. But again, like, how hard is it going to be to get this monster, considering he's a multiplayer monster? I have no idea. And then, did I read Baboon Fire? Removes positive effects, deals heavy fire. I think I did. Applies Ignite. His ultimate is pretty good, because that positive effect removal, plus the heavy damage, then Ignite. But I mean, Slugazoid has a 90 damage, insane water damage skill. I just think that's funny. But overall, yeah, typical attacker rune setup, 2 strength and a speed or team speed. Or, if you want to try Blow the Ashes, followed up by Fire Meteor, if you have a monster to protect you, if you can block somehow. The only time I would run Smells Like Burnt is if maybe you have Ragnarök on your team, you give yourself double damage, you turn transfer back, remove the negative effect, so the burn is gone, or just someone that can cleanse. Ideally, you probably just want to buff him with another monster so you can take full advantage, just attack. Yeah, overall, he's like a pure attacker, and typically pure attackers, there's not much to them, right? It's kind of what I said about Hardy. If his skill set, it's very basic. What makes him stand out is the anticipation trait. Take away anticipation, he's kind of basic. That's where this monster falls in. Skill set is kind of basic. The trait is amazing, can't be controlled. But with a basic skill set, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather use some regular mythics for now. But yeah, guys, that is my analysis on Heiss. Now I want to hear from all of you guys. What do you guys think about this monster? Is he worth it? Is he not worth it? What's the best thing about him? Any now thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys very much, and remember to subscribe.